Welcome to the Age of Awakening.
Please identify yourself. Enter.
In a world obsessed with freedom of choice, there is one virtue that quietly fuels every dream that's ever been realized. What is it? Obedience. So let me ask you this. What are you truly obedient to? Here's the thing. Obedience isn't blind compliance. No, not at all. It's fierce, focused devotion to a dream. Welcome to the Triple P Life Podcast. I'm Dr. J. LaGuardia, your host. And if you can't tell, today's episode is about obedience. Sometimes the universe sends you signals and you're present, you're in a state of awareness. And I saw this come up twice about obedience. And I never really considered it to the level in which I'm going to share with you here today. By the way, a shorter episode today, so you're going to like that, but a powerful episode nonetheless. So as I mentioned, you get messages from the universe, and I kept seeing this thing about obedience. And it's, how has obedience played a role in my life? I always talk about discipline. I talk about commitment. I talk about grit, resiliency, all critical characteristics and values as it relates to success and anything you want in life. But I never really thought about obedience. So as I started to look deeper and deeper, and I found that obedience isn't blind compliance. It's a fierce, focused devotion to a dream. And many of you know I'm a dreamer, about lots of things. And so I guess for all the dreams that have come true in my life, it's because I've been obedient to that particular focus and devotion. So what we're going to talk about here today is really redefining what obedience is and why obedience is in rare supply. And then we're going to talk about the gift of obedience. And then we're going to get a call to action to you, right? I'm going to give you some tools that you can take and apply pretty quickly to become more obedient in a positive way than perhaps maybe you've ever been previously. So before I get into that, again, I want to welcome you to the show, all our great listeners throughout the year. We just crushed way past 1 million downloads. I want to thank everybody for that. Actually, we're closer to 1.5 now. Couldn't be more thankful for each and every one of you for that. We are really growing, and it's because of you. You like the content, apparently, keep coming back, so I appreciate that. And you're telling your family and friends, I appreciate that. You know what I say? Great content should flow through you, not just to you. You got to pass it on to other people. And apparently you guys are doing it, and that's allows us to serve our purpose and mission here. And, got to get the business out of the way here. Please, if you haven't done so, go give us a 5-star review rating at your favorite podcast app. If you're on YouTube here, please hit the share, like, and follow your notification button on your podcast app so you never miss the latest episode. Listen, this content's free. It's perfect, right? You get all this great content for free. The price is right, so might as well stick with it. So let's get into this thing called obedience. As I mentioned, we live in a world obsessed, right? We're obsessed with freedoms and flexibility and having just countless options at our fingertips. Good things, right? Yeah. But there's one quiet, overlooked virtue that I mentioned called obedience that oftentimes is in short order. Now, I'm not talking about the obedience in the traditional rule following sense, be obedient to mom and dad, be obedient to, maybe your teacher, to the government. No, not the government, don't be you, right? But rather, what really I'm talking about is radical, relentless commitment to you, to your calling. So here's a question I want you to sit with here for a moment. I asked you this in the opening. What are you truly obedient to? Think about it. And if you're in a place where you can sit down and write what that is, please do so. Some you may say, you know what, Jay, I'm obedient to my family, right? They come first. I'm serving them each and every day in a loving and supportive and nurturing way. Great, fantastic, right? Maybe you're obedient to your physical well-being and you're really committed to being healthy and to living your best life and having the physical capacity to be able to do so. Maybe you're obedient to God, right? Maybe you've got, it's the highest core value that you have is your relationship with God. And every day you work hard to live in his light. Maybe you're obedient to your purpose, which I hope you all are. And if you don't have one, you need one. We did an episode quite a while ago, how to find your purpose, but reach out to me if you need help finding one, because a life without purpose is just merely passing through, punching the time clock of life. And I've yet to find anybody who really is truly happy who doesn't live in purpose. So hopefully you're obedient to your purpose. Maybe you're obedient in your career, in building your skill sets. You're obedient to building a success mindset, to overcoming a scarcity mindset. What is it that you're obedient to? Sit down, take a second, write whatever comes to mind. Now, if you're driving, please don't write it down. Okay. Maybe pull over. This is really a very truly important question, because if you don't know what you're obedient to, guess what? You'll never find success that you want. So let's talk about redefining obedience. First, let's start by saying obedience is not a weakness. It's not blind submission. Obedience is sacred alignment. You see, it's when your daily actions, your habits, your behaviors, and your mindset are consistently in service of something bigger than you, right? And bigger than just convenience. To be obedient to your purpose means to say no to something, someone, more importantly, distractions, and yes to your discipline, even and perhaps more so importantly, when no one's watching. You see, obedience is the muscle that executes discipline when motivation disappears. Now, if you want to be excellent, you got to be obedient, not just when it's easy, but especially when it's hard. Now, I'll give you an example like when you're in the gym. You've been going to the gym, you're working out, right? You're getting some results, but you get into routine, you get into habit, and you're doing the same thing over and over, and you stop seeing results. And it's easy to fall off track, to lose that obedience until you push yourself harder. One more set, increase the weight, right? Feel the burn. Maybe it's when you're working on a skill set and you run into a roadblock. You're like, man, I just can't overcome this. So are you going to buckle or are you going to reach out for help? So what defines your ability to stay obedient is when you're faced with difficult and hard tasks is how do you handle it? So that's going to define your ability to stay compliant in that level of obedience. So why is obedience in such rare supply nowadays? Well, here's the deal, right? I just did a video on this, is that most people are chasing motivation. And motivation is fleeting, right? It's loud, it's exciting, but it's temporary. Obedience, it's quiet, but it's consistent and it's rare. And it demands these three things from you that most people avoid. Why? Because there's pain involved. And the human condition is to avoid pain at all costs. It's just the reality, guys. We don't like pain. I mean, unless you're a sadomasochist, but a different type of pain, the type of pain that's going to benefit you in the long run. So let's talk about these three. So the first is being sacrifice, giving up what's easy now for what will become extraordinary later. That's what sacrifice is, right? It's stepping away from the table. As you guys know, I really work hard at being disciplined in my diet. And I got a little granddaughter who loves to go for ice cream. And so she asked me the other day, she goes, Papa, I want you to take me for ice cream. I said, absolutely. If you ask pleasantly or politely, she goes, Papa, will you please take me? I said, absolutely. So we went for ice cream and I didn't get any. Not that I love ice cream, but it's just not in line with my diet right now. And she says to me, Papa, how come we go for ice cream and you don't get ice cream? Do you not like ice cream? I said, I love ice cream. She goes, how come you don't get any? I said, I'm sacrificing now for the extraordinary later. She kind of looked at me and I said, Kinsley, as I get older, I have to work harder to stay in shape and I have to sacrifice certain things. And one of the things is ice cream, because if I have a scoop of ice cream, I want the entire container. So many of you out there probably can relate to that. Okay, so the second is dedication. And that's, guys, that's just showing up every day, right? Showing up, being gritty, even in silence when no one's around. No applause, no acknowledgement, no positive feedback. It's just you and the thing. And are you going to do the thing? It's like in the morning. Like we talk about success habits and having a time set aside each and every day in the morning to prepare yourself for success, to prepare your mindset for success. Unless you've got an audience, perhaps your spouse, maybe the dog, right? There's no positive feedback. It's just you grinding, doing what you know you need to do because you're dedicated and committed to the result. And then the third is discipline. Doing the work when you're feeling, right, that you just don't want to, right? Think about the world's greatest performers. Think about the world's greatest athletes and creators and artists and leaders, right? They weren't casually committed. They were radically obedient to their mission. Now, you may say, look at some of the greats, Picasso, Mozart, Jordan. Oh, they were just naturally gifted. Perhaps, but they were wildly and radically obedient to their mission and their purpose. In the Jim Collins' book, 10,000 Hours, right, to master a skill set, that's actually been somewhat disproven. Not so much the amount of time necessary, but you can put 10,000 hours into something and still be really average at it. It's training at a high level, repeated high level over a period of time that helps create mastery, right? Not training at a low level, you just become average at it. So it's a high level of engagement at a repeated period of time over a long period of time. So, what about obedience? Is it a gift? Of course it is, right? If you look at the fact that obedience is not bondage, it's actually liberation. You see, when you're so obedient to something in your life, things get easier. So I want you to stop asking, do I feel like doing it? Do I really want to do it? No one's looking. I can just sleep in this morning. No, I want you to stop and start asking, does this align with who I am becoming? Because if you're a part of this show and you enjoy listening to this show, we are all about constant and never ending personal and professional improvement, never settling for average. It's okay to be in the place that you're in right now, accepting and understanding that this is just a moment in time to the next step of evolution in who you are. And you know what? There's no destination in that. That's the important part to understand. There's not a destination. It's just a constant striving to be better each and every day. Your obedience builds character when no one's clapping. Obedience also builds internal confidence. Why? Because when you're consistently obeying and being true to your vision, you begin to trust yourself more deeply. Look, it's not, we've heard this thing, fake it till you'll make it, right? I bought into that for a long period of time, but it's garbage because at some point, it's fluff, it's BS. Because you don't build that self-worth and that self-confidence by faking it because it's not real. It's not built on any foundation. What builds confidence is competence. As you put that time in and you work on that skill set, or you work on your business, or you work on your health, or you work on your marriage, over time, you get confident in your ability to navigate through it to find more success. That's what builds self-trust, and that's what creates freedom. So here's my challenge for you. I told you, a short show today. I want you to choose one area in your life. Could be your business, could be your health, your finances, your relationships. And I want you to practice complete obedience this week. No negotiations, no loopholes, no excuses, just obedience. So if you say, hey, you know what, Jay, I'm going to do it, then do it. And watch what happens when you stop honoring your word like it's a sacred vow. Because excellence is never accidental. It's the fruit of obedience. So that's today's show. I hope you enjoyed it. I really enjoyed putting this show together because I learned a lot looking into this more deeply. And it's now become one of my top values as success in business and life is obedience. And I hope you found that to be true and will find it true as you begin to exercise and apply more obedience in your life. So once again, guys, I can't thank you enough for being here each and every week. If you found this episode not motivational, but inspiring, share it with your friends. Let them know the great content that we're putting out here. Share it with a friend maybe that's struggling, maybe a colleague in business that you work with, because if you get an opportunity to inspire them, then their day will be better and so will yours as well too. So once again, I appreciate love in each and every one of you. Thank you for being here each week. Again, go give us a rate review. If you love this show today, if you love this content, please go out there and give us a 5-star review. Tell them or tell us, tell the reviewer, tell anybody what you liked about this show. Email me, Dr. J at Triple P Life, Dr. J at Triple P Life. Message me on any of our platforms, TikTok and YouTube and Instagram and Facebook, and we're on Twitter or X, but I don't engage there much because it can be a bit of a cesspool. You guys know what I mean who are on X. It's got some good stuff too, though. So listen, you be you. Just be the best you, and I promise you will always empower your dreams and ignite your passion and accelerate your prosperity. So until next week, guys, be well.